It only took 4 chapters, but we're finally getting to some Guardian v Guardian action. Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Northern Soul Reaper, and today we're taking a look at chapter 4 of Guardian of the Witch, titled Attack. Now, before we kick things off, as always, this is a spoiler-filled review, so if you haven't read the chapter yet, go away to the Shonen Jump app where it's available, give it a read, come back. So, at the start of this chapter, our 3 heroes have just arrived at the first village on the way to the country or the city-state of Noir. There are 7 villages in total on the route, and at the end of the last chapter, they basically just arrived at the first village. Now, the chapter begins with Manafsa kind of taking a look at the village and saying that this is my first real challenge in the big wide world. And Fafnir kind of reassures both Manasva and Nada. He's like, look, I made a pledge to keep you both safe, and that's what I'm going to do. Trust that you're in good hands with me. So at that, Manasva begins to charge into the village, with Fafnir kind of saying, oh, hang on, my plan was to sneak round and go in later, perhaps when it was dark maybe. But Manasva storms ahead, trips over a rock and ends up falling down a ravine into the town. So Fafnir and Nata follow Manasva down into the village, and they are greeted by the villagers. Now there's a weird old man walking towards them with a cane, and he reaches into his pocket and he seems to have something in his hand, and Fafnir immediately clocks it and says, is that a ranged weapon? And the village elder throws up a load of flower petals into the air and says, welcome to Hinoko village. So we now know that the first village is called Hinoko, and it looks like they're getting some sort of warm reception. So what follows is quite a quick series of events. The villagers take them into the town and welcome them and say, you must be tired from your long journey, take a load off. They feed them loads of food, there's a scene with loads of villagers just piling on the food with Manasva putting it away. So that, at least for now, takes care of the food element of the witch. Because if we remember back, she needs to eat lots of food to slow down the progression of the evil seed grown inside her. So that's kind of taken care of. And the elder also says, I've booked you a room at the inn, please consider it your home away from home. So while they're at the inn, Nata and Manasva decide to take a bath, and whilst they're in there, they're having a little bit of a conversation, and Manasva is asking Nata why they've stopped and why they just taking a bath, why are they resting? So Nata says, well, the village elder said that it was their tradition to welcome people into the village, and Fafnir also said that the journey ahead is going to be rough, so we should really take these moments where we can get them. And Manasva then asks Nata, where's Fafnir? And it's shown that he's outside keeping watch on top of a building. And he's thinking to himself, and he says, okay, so the food wasn't poisoned, and there weren't any drugs in it or anything, so that's good, but I still have to assume that everyone in this town is my enemy. And then the elder appears and asks Fafnir to hop down off the building to have a quick chat, and in his hand he is holding a newspaper that was just delivered by messenger bird, and it has the 3 wanted posters in it. And the village elder says, do these people look familiar to you? And Fafnir's like, yeah, oh no, things gonna get real. But the village elder says, don't worry, I haven't shown anyone this, and he tears up the paper. And the village elder says, don't worry, I'm not going to tell anyone, I believe what I see with my own eyes. And he tells Fafnir that the law that he told them about wasn't exactly the full law, so he gives a bit more of an explanation. He says, if I judge the people in the town who are coming to the town, to be good people and trustworthy, I will throw the rose petals into the air from my left hand. If I think that they're going to be bad uns, I'll raise my cane up, and that's the signal for the town to beat everyone bloody. That's the full law. And he says that showing hospitality is a bit of a hobby of his. He can't do much, but he can give them a room in the inn. And he just says, relax for now, you're safe. And Fafnir hears these words and he says, he thinks that I'm a good person, but I was thinking about killing Manasva for even a second. I'm a good person, but I couldn't save my family. And he's kind of having this inner turmoil, and he says, oh, no, for now, I have to put all that aside. I just have to keep the girls safe. That is my mandate, that is my mission now. He has to make a safer world without evils and without witches. And we get that same message from Manasva again. She doesn't want anyone to grieve because of magic ever again. And just at that second, someone shouts, "Steil, guillotine." Fafnir turns his head quickly, and coming down overhead with this huge steel guillotine is Gen, flying at him, coming towards him, and takes a massive swing, which Fafnir manages. He's already unsheathed his sword and he manages to block the attack. So Gen says, "You've got quick reflexes," which you already know from previous chapters. And he says, Fafnir's just totally in shock here, and he's like, who are you? You know, who the heck are you? And Gen, he says, "Are you fast enough to dodge this though?" And he says, "Really, now." So his witch comes up behind him and presses her hands on his back. And we get the spell, the Spear of Conviction, which is basically a load of shards of metal erupt from Gen's chest, or from a point in front of Gen's chest, and go towards Fafnir. Fortunately, he looks like he manages to parry this, and he now clocks on that this is magic being used, and Gen must be a guardian. And then he figures out that Gen's fighting style looks to be just using magic, whereas Fafnir seems to favour the blade and the sheath. Gen seems to be using the power of Rulia's witch just to attack. So we get a quick introduction. We've got Gen hors d'oeuvre, which is his full name, and Ruli Lirala, I think that's her name. One thing I have noticed about this series is they're just, all the names are tongue twisters. Like, I keep trying to say Manafsa instead of Manasva, and Fafnir and Ruri Lira, like Lirala. Yeah, all the names are like not good for just saying quickly. So Gen and Ruli have come to, by the order of the rector of the city-state of Steil, they're here to kill him. At which point Fafnir says, you know, all that metal out of nowhere, are you using magic to create the weapons? And Gen confirms in the affirmative, saying that he catches on pretty quick. And then Ruli gives Gen the instruction from the previous chapter, which is, remember, we can't kill the witch, we've just got to capture her. So it looks like we're going to get a showdown between Gen and Fafnir as they look for Manasva. However, Manasva whacks open a window and shouts towards Fafnir and is like, hey Fafnir, and then clocks on and is like, oh, hang on, who are they? To which Gen is like, oh, found you, let's kill them. And Fafnir is basically stands defiant with sword and sheath, and he says, you will not get past me. And that's where the chapter ends. So the next chapter is going to be a big showdown between the witch guardian combo of Gen and Ruli and Fafnir. Will Manasva come into the fight and help with her flame magic? Perhaps. One thing that we've seen so far, and it's really kind of interesting to break down, is so we've got guardians, by the looks of it, who either use weapons or their weapons are conjured up by their witch. So we seem to have kind of a difference in attack style. Is it someone who's trained with their own weapon? Like Fafnir has one weapon that he's trained with seemingly for his entire life to get really good at it, or like Gen, does he use his magic to conjure up, so does he use Ruli's magic to conjure up weapons? And he seems to be a jack of all trades, because he used we saw the steel blade be conjured up, but we've also seen him attack with the big steel guillotine. So it looks like Gen is going to be more of a fast and loose, having weapons conjured up and attacking with lots of different styles to keep Fafnir on edge, whereas Fafnir perhaps is more just using the sword and relying on his own reflexes. But it'll be interesting to see if Manasva comes into the fight and helps Fafnir by conjuring up some flames, maybe even making his sword flaming. We have seen in a promotional piece of artwork placing a hand on Fafnir's weapons and conjuring up a flame along it, so it could be that this is his fighting style. We just haven't seen it yet. What I really like about this series is there seems to be a lot of diversity in the attack styles. Like, we've seen two so far, but they're already two very different fighting styles and witches. So going forward, I am really, and I know I've said this before, but I am excited to see the kind of the different fighting styles, the different magic users that crop up on this journey. Overall, this chapter was, again, until the final moments, it was quite a slow one, but I also found the pacing a little off. Like, they arrived in the village and then just immediately the village are like, yes, welcome, here's some food, have a room at the inn, we're good people. And that's fine, they can be good people, but these are just people that have just turned up at the village gate, and they don't, the villagers don't know who they are. They're going on their village elder's word that he judges them trustworthy. I just felt like we got from being outside the village to being inside the village as welcome guests a little bit too quickly, and I don't know how much of that comes from just that we needed to get from outside the village to inside the village to the point where we can have the fight in the next chapter. I don't know if that was just so we glossed over that, but like, the villages, they exist outside of the protection of the city-state, but this seemed to be okay. They had a lot of food on hand, there didn't seem to be any shortages. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know if I thought that the city-states were kind of all-powerful and ruled the area, with the villages being kind of subservient to them, or that they're on their own, so they might be a bit impoverished, but this kind of shattered that expectation. Of course, this is only the first on the route. There are 7 more villages on the way to Noir. Sorry, 6 more villages on the way to Noir. So they could be all different. But yeah, the main thing is I just found it a little quick going, from outside the village to inside the village. But other than that, I enjoyed the chapter overall. We got a little bit more. I mean, we did get an explanation for the village, and we got to meet a new character, and we got a little bit of a look inside of a village outside of the city-state, which was good. And we get a little bit more back and forth between Nata and Manasfa, and Manasfa still being a little bit playful with Fafnir, so that kind of relationship's still ongoing. And we got the build up to the big fight and a quick reveal of Gen's fighting style, which we already kind of was alluded to in the last chapter. We got a little bit of a look of that, he conjured up the blade, but now we see full force of him using Ruli's powers to kind of make these weapons for him, which was really fun to see. So overall, I enjoyed the chapter. I'm still going to be reading week to week. There was nothing in here to totally put me off and think, well, 4 chapters in, I'm going to just toss it to the side. I'm really looking forward to the first big fight. I guess this entire chapter of chapter 5 is going to be a big fight scene, which I'm really looking forward to. And then I'm looking forward to seeing where we progress from there. The village might have welcomed them in because they have something for them to do. There might be a task or a mission. I don't know how long they're going to spend in each village, because obviously we still have this, we still have the time limit. Manasfa is still at a point where the rector judged her to need to be executed, so we still need to kind of get through this route quickly, but it could be that they're waylaid on the way, so we'll see as the series progresses. Yes, so that's it for today's review. Really enjoyed the chapter, a little bit off pace, I felt, from previous chapters, but still an enjoyable chapter, and it's left a lot for the next chapter to pick up with a big fight scene. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this chapter. Let me know if you're going to continue reading, and also let me know what else you've been reading in Shonen Jump. I really enjoyed the latest chapter of Dr. Stone. I'm really enjoying where that series is going, specifically to them. Yeah, really enjoying Dr. Stone as well. Other than that, in Shonen Jump, I'm rereading One Piece from the start. Yeah, I'm up to, I'm at Skypiea. They've kind of just arrived at Skypiea, so got a little ways to go, but the hope is to get totally caught up to current, and have fun with One Piece as well. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you liked this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel and ringing the bell. It is the best way to get the videos as they come out. I've now got quite a few chapter reviews of this, if you want to go back and watch those. I've got some manga reviews, some collection videos, some hauls. Check them all out. I'll leave some cards up to some playlists in the outro. I also have the socials now, links in the description for my Twitter and Instagram. Give those a follow as well if you like. I mainly just post about manga and anime, so yeah, give them a follow as well if you so desire. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.